What's up, my people? We got some upgrades going on this ISX15 PDI Big Boss exhaust manifold. So anybody that knows the ISX15 or any ISX, the manifolds are, let's just say they're junk. So anyways, I got ever since I've owned this truck, is on back pressure on the Jake brakes. It's, you know, it's fluttered, and you know that's a sign of either an exhaust leak or a cracked manifold or whatnot. But these manifolds are known to crack in several spots, but mine's leaking back here, and there's a leak over here. But then it got louder in the last few weeks, and I noticed this bolt right here snapped off, so that's going to be another challenge. I'm going to have to weld a nut on it and try to extract that. But first time tackling this project, we are going to, pretty simple. It's just, it's time consuming, you know. I don't do this every day, so we'll work through it together, go from there. Let's first take a paint marker because we're going to move this thing, and so we get this back in the same spot, because these things could be a joke and a nightmare to get that thing back lined up with that thing. But anyways, we'll move that and we'll start tearing into this thing. Got to take your piping off first, and then your turbo and all your oil connections, electrical connections, and everything else. It's not too many, but they got to be out of the way. One of the bigger pain in the jobs is just changing or draining the antifreeze. You got to drain the antifreeze. That's probably the most annoying part, anyways. When you get this drain, you're gonna get splashed. Make sure you pull your, hear that noise? That's because I don't have it open. Let me go open that lid and you'll see it relieve the pressure. And you can slow that down like a vacuum as it gets close, or just switch the buckets real fast. We'll drain this out and go to the next step. All right, almost 3 gallons off. Put lids on them, set them over out of the way, because it will go back in after the job is complete. Coolant is drained. Get these off your turbo, your air cooler pipes. Get your something like this that's easy. Gets in around here and you can work your way around. Sometimes they get really frozen on there. That way, you use a screwdriver, you can pierce it. So use something like this, it's a little bit better. Piece this now. This should spin off nice and nice. We just pulled the top one. We put this one back on. The one that was off, pulled that off. And then we'll wiggle this whole thing off. That way everything is off. Turbo bearings are good. All right, get all your electrical connections off and out of the way. I'm gonna pull this one, because the turbo is coming off next. So you get all your clips off. Get them up and out of the way. We got some lines here. We got to pull this line, loosen this end, pull that, get it up out of the way, because again, we got to get this off. We're going to pull this line here. That's another coolant line going to the manifold. This line looks awful rough. That line's got to get out of the way. So there's 1, 2, 3 right there. 4. When we got our oil drop right here, tube, that's got to get out of the way. And this line right here, that's got to get out of the way. Once that's all off, you take 4 bolts off the turbo right here on that flange, and turbo should come out. Well, I made a mistake. And these lines here and this line. Put some towels in your ports just for precaution. All right, we got several lines in this area, so you want to get all these lines off. Okay, boom, boom, boom. There's 4 just right here. I sprayed them up with 40. You gotta make sure, like especially this one, it's rusty. Just take your time. There's little O-rings in there that you can replace. I'll inspect all these, and I think you're gonna be fine. So all this is disconnected right now. Boom, boom, boom. This one, I'll get the bottom of this off. That's in the exhaust, and obviously that gets super hot, so that's going to be want to hang in there because that's got to go on the new exhaust. Working our way back. These will come off. Like I said, they're off, but they'll stay on the actuator when you pull this whole turbo. All right, that's the bellow. This is going to give us a tough time right here. This is the knock sensor. I'm surprised this come out. These were only 8mm bolts. They come out of there, but there's a lot to it, a lot more than I thought. Disassembling this turbo, there's a lot of lines. There's lines all behind here. You're gonna have to go through and just take your time to get this part off. Once you get all that off, this is pretty self-explanatory. You got your bolts, you know what I mean? Some of them might snap off. This is a lot more intense job than I figured. I was hoping I could get it done in one shot, 6-7 hours, but it might take me a dual day. Today's Labor Day or Memorial Day, excuse me. And got to do some family things, so truck will be down for a day or so. You're gonna have to beat on these bellow clamps to get them off if they haven't been off in a while. Got that one loose, and that was the harder one, so hopefully this one will snap loose. There she goes. Worst case, you torch and beat and grind and get everything off. You just buy new stuff, Lots of DW40s, your friend in this position. These clamps right on out of here. And the bellow compresses, so it's spinning loose, so hopefully I can get that out. Alright, yes. Push it towards the EGR first. She'll pop out. And when you install it, you push it to the EGR. Here's some gaskets. Just make sure you don't lose those gaskets. Woo! Nightmare with this, but I got it. Got that fancy socket. It's just any sensor socket for like an O2 sensor on your car or whatever. I threw some heat down in here with the torch and got it to come loose. What a nightmare. Otherwise I was going to try to take this turbo and hold it here and tie strap it, but I'm going to have to weld that stud out, so I need as max room as I could get. Everything's unhooked from the turbo. Got everything down and out. I loosened this to the dosing valve, and I fished it down under here and got it tucked away instead of taking it off the truck. I did that with a lot of lines. You got to pick and choose which lines you want to come with the turbo and which ones you're going to get off, because some of them are down in the bottom and it's easier just to leave them on. All right, we're going to get this turbo off. We got to get 4 nuts off. These 2 are easy. There's 2 difficult ones there. Torch may have to come out. Top easy too. I grabbed, hit them with a mesh hammer and a box wrench, broke them loose. Get them with the socket. The studs are coming right out, and then work our way to the bottom of them. Oh, that stud didn't come out. Perfect. We got all new studs and hardware anyways for the whole unit. All right, turbo's all loose. We just got the one bolt still in there because that's what's holding it up, because it will fall down off that flange. See how she's loose? So we're gonna pop this off and we're ready to go. Chisel and a mesh hammer. Nice. If anybody knows of a tool caddy that goes over this wheel to put tools in, because I'm sick of doing all this all the time. I need the place to put my tools. I know Mike Napa, Mike Jones, he has all the tools and all the setups. He'll be commenting saying, I wish you were down at the shop. All right, hopefully I got all the wires and stuff out of the way. Gonna triple check. I'm pretty sure everything's off and disconnected and out of the way. bring all the electrical that's coming with you, get it up so don't get hung up. That's all off. That's coming with me. That's staying. All right, let's get this thing. The studs are just holding it in right now. Come on, work your way out. I'm sure nothing's in the way. Yeah, I thought it would want to drop out faster than that, but I'm also hung up with this exhaust that you guys are sitting on. So we'll get it down, you know. Ooh, there she goes. There she goes. Big old heavy turbo. All right, you want to lean her back because there's going to be coolant dumping out of here. We got all new gaskets and everything for this, so we'll clean everything up. We're going to protect this, put it in the man box for tonight because I won't be putting it back together today. A lot of work just to get that little thing out. I mean, it isn't, it's just that it's tedious work. This piece we still need. We're going to need this. It's out there, so it will come out with the exhaust manifold. And once that comes out, I'll work on that because it'll be a lot easier. We got 12 bolts, 11 because one has snapped, and of course the one in the back is the hardest one to get to, so that's where I'll be doing some welding. But let's see if we get this off without breaking any bolts. That would be a bonus. I only probably got enough battery. It's got 2 bars on it. Oh yeah, second one out. I prefer using this impact because it will break the rust loose. Just go easy with it. There's 3. We won't be putting them in with the impact though. There's 4. All right. Don't jinx it. Don't jinx it. Oh, we got 8 out. We got 8 out. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. I don't like to feel that one. I got to get these ones because of my exhaust. I could loosen that exhaust and turn it down, but I'm not gonna. Because it's more work I got to do to put it together. I'm going to get these ones out, crack them loose with the regular wrench. Really didn't like the way those felt because I'm pulling out an angle because of the exhaust. Let's see what we got here. Oh boy. Oh yeah, she broke loose. Good. They're only supposed to be 44 foot-pounds going back in, but they get rusted. So that one we could grab with the gun. And the gun's dead right now too, so that could have been. Well, we got the last one coming out, but we do have 2 to extract now because I just snapped the bolt. The one right here got snapped. Well, it's better than snapping all 11 that was there. Well, we got this, and I have to get the welder out and get 2. Do the battery before you start welding on the engine. That's a given, but I don't know. I'm annoyed now. I gotta do 2, but it's not the end of the world. Hopefully it comes out good. I've done them before. I've done them several. I've done them on aluminum blocks. I've done them on Cat C15s. But the exhaust manifold is loose. Let's get it out. She's a heavy little girl, I'll tell you that. Oh, snug. Gotta rotate her out. Oh. Come on now. Get off them threads. Get off. What's going on? What am I hung up on? I don't want to bung these threads up into the EGR cooler, so let's go easy. Might be able to come this way and up and out. Let's see. Get back in. Rotate. rotate her out. Yowski. Well, she's out. We gotta get that off because we need it. Get these old gaskets off. And then we'll clean the engine. You can see it's been leaking. Right here, definitely. This has been leaking big time back here. And there's our broken bolt that we just broke right now. And let's see how long this one's been broke. Okay, that one's been broke a long time. Probably broke before I got the truck. See how it's rusted? You see how this, bear with the angle, but you see the silver? I just broke that. Okay, this one is rusted over. So it was broke, probably, I inspected them all. The head was still on it, and then over, you know, driving on the road, it finally fell out. That really cleaned it up nice and nice. All right, first tricks of the trade of welding the stud out is get yourself a little grease. Find yourself some nuts, different sizes. I start with, you don't want to go bigger than the thread of that, so you don't ever want to get weld out onto this block, because then you're into another can of worms. So the first thing I do, let me get you set up here. Hang on with me. First thing I do is grab a little grease and get it around the block where I'm not going to be welding on the outside. This you could wipe off after. But this allows no weld to stick to the block. Alright? Get it right on that edge of that thread. Because you're going to get splatter on there, but it won't stick. Alright, take your time doing this, get it right. Sometimes it takes 2-3 nuts to be welded on, because you got to get that heat transfer. My biggest thing is, what always happens with me is I don't let it cool off enough. Let these things cool off 15-20 minutes, and then turn them, and then they'll come out a lot easier. The first nut I'm going to use is this little guy. He's real little, but I don't want to take chances, so we're gonna run this nut first. This is the one that I broke off. So we'll get this. You try to get it as centered as you can. Sometimes I take a tack weld and I put a little bead on this if it's deep in there and it's not flush, to build it out. And then you're welding weld on weld instead of weld on the bolt. But we'll play with it right now. This hopefully they come out easy. We'll see. KOMATSU grease will let that nut stick right on there. You don't need a magnet. Sometimes you got to put a magnet there to get it dead center. But KOMATSU grease is awesome. All right, first nut welded. Just I used my technique different. I put a wrench there exactly where the hole was, slid the nut right into it. So I squared this up. Say this was I squared that up in the middle like that, then slid the nut in. Because when I hit it with the heat with the grease, it slid down and I can't hold on to it with bare hands. But I'm gonna let this cool off. I didn't show the welding because the last time I did this, I did it like 5-6 times on a wheel nut, and it wrecked my GoPro. So I'm not gonna film the welding. All right, while we're letting that one cool off, you see in the back how I just centered my weld on there and I built it out, so now it's got weld, so I'm going to be sticking weld to weld. It's going to do a lot better, and it gives me something to hang the nut on a little bit. It also put heat into that stud. Now it's going to cool off, then more heat, then cool off. First attempt, I don't believe this will work, but we'll see. Usually they never work on the first one. No. And then this will tell you how much weld you got on there, which by the brake it will show you had a little less than 1/4 inch of clean weld. So we'll build this one out like I did that one and try again. We may have to use a bigger nut. So when you build them out, you can use bigger nuts. It's just the first time you know, it's nervous. You don't wanna weld on that block. So take some more of that stuff. I got this too. This is the splatter stuff from Lincoln. You can throw on there, wrap it right around. She was just glowing. She's cooling now, but we'll see what that one does. All right, we're like on the 4th or 5th nut a piece. We're gonna let these cool down for an hour this time. I don't know. You know, sometimes they go easy, sometimes they go rough, but it is what it is. I had to get a light in here because I can't see. I'm in a tight spot. All right, see, that's my biggest enemy, like I said from the beginning, is time. So, and work just back and forth like this once you get it to break any weld that is near the threads, and they won't be flush because they twist. So that's why if you use a box wrench like this, you can watch it. If you try to use a socket, you probably will hurt it. But that one's good. I let it cool down over an hour. Pretty good weld job right there. Usually they're at an angle pretty good, but look how flush that got. It's almost like a bolt at that point. Looking good. One more to go. We'll clean that up with the die grinder, which is pretty dang good. This one was just about hand tight. Nice, come right out. The cool down method, now that one I didn't get too square. You see how it's off centered, but it still worked. It wouldn't have worked if I didn't let that cool down for an hour, I can tell you that. And that looks pretty good. Okay, all cleaned up. I took my old bolts that come out of here, the studs, and ground the head off. You're gonna take 6 of them. You're gonna thread them in here, 1 turn. That's it. 1 turn on each one. You'll see why in a minute. All right, now you see what those studs are for. They hang your gaskets right in place. Just do your top bolts. Now when our manifold goes on, we slip right over them. We take one out at a time and put a bolt in, a new stud. Like another one out, put a new stud in. Make your life a lot easier because that manifold is heavy. All right, on to the big boss. We got these inclined seals here. I just got these ones on. Make sure the cup is facing out. They're really hard to get on and you don't want to damage them. So there's a cup in them like that. We're going to face the cup down and we are going to set this on there square. So hang on, let me get you down here. I'm going to set that flat. I'm going to set this in there nice and even until she seats, and then push. Because you'll never get that on. I tried for 20 minutes to get that on another way. Take a small screwdriver or a 2.5-inch pipe it calls for, but you can just go around it. Nice and slow. It's a metal seal, no rubber in it, so you're not going to hurt it unless you went gun-ho. There's a bottom. That's the bottom. Bottom, and then double check. Just like that. The big thing is making sure these seals go on correctly, the right direction. And they call for a very thin layer of anti-seize around here. All right, there's the big boss next to the old one. And this thing is what, it's got the special coating. It's polished, it's ceramic. It's way better than the manufacturer's one for the heating, the cooling, the expansion, contraction. It also gives you 20% more airflow. So we are gonna put some thin layer of anti-seize on each end, and then on both inside and outside, they said, and then insert it. Okay, anti-seize is all on there. I didn't put it on the seal because it didn't show it on the diagram. To put it on the seal. We're gonna set that in there. This is, you gotta make sure you're on a flat surface and get this square going in. Use yourself a doobie. And you're gonna hit that nice. Till she bottoms out. Make sure she's down. I'd say that's in. Let's do the other one. I'd say that's hitting something hard. Pretty good. Well, no, if the bolt holes don't line up. That's pretty good. All right, we're all in. We're all flat, ready to hang it. All right, we're gonna hang it. Gotta try to get this in the right position here. Oh, she's a heavy one. So I'm saying you'll never get this thing in. You would have never got this hanging and the gaskets and the studs. Well, you could have. It would have been a nightmare though. Trust me when I tell you. All right, where are we here? Get where you gotta go. Get where you gotta go, boys. Okay, had to call the audible. Those that didn't work, that system I had with the cut the bolts. This, it would work if it was a stock manifold. This is a little bit bigger, so it's tighter. It just didn't work. So I'm using a magnet, and I gotta try to get, I put never sees on these new bolts. I'm gonna try to line up this corner and that corner to try to get this thing started. All right, the big boss is hanging. All the top bolts are in. All got seal never sees on them. All the gaskets are in. I just basically brought this in and then reached up in behind and put the gasket on each bolt and then slid it into position. But one of your friends will be this. Use this so you could get in, line the gasket up in the bottom to put it in, and then you'll have to, you know, get in over here to pry the manifold over to line up a bolt, because these had to come out that little bit you see on each side to get it. So you bang them all in and then you have to get them out a little bit, I guess. But on to the next step. Getting late in the day, and just like I said, I knew it was going to take me more than today, and I want to get some new seals and stuff for these right here. These were really bad, so I'm gonna get some new seals tomorrow at Kenworth at some point. All right, all my bottom bolts are in. You're gonna torque like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. PDI says 50 foot-pounds of torque. Cummins quick serve says 44. So I'm gonna go with the manufacturer that built this because it's stronger and it may not flex as much. So I'm gonna go with 50 pounds. All right, everything's torqued down, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 50 pounds, that sequence. Bellows got 2 gaskets on it. Make sure they're back in. You're gonna push this spring this way first. So it's gonna go in here to lock that in. You won't be able to get it in any other way. Let me sit you down. You can watch. Here's my gasket. Make sure that's on. And push. And she'll lock in there. Like so. 2 clamps and that part's done. Got to put my heat shield on, hook my coolant lines back up. Like I said, I want to get some gaskets. So I'm going to get these manifold bolts in now. Right here, these studs. Make sure you thread 2 in here and then 2 in the turbo. All right, get your clamps on, your cooler lines and all that before you get your turbo on, because you could get all this on. Clarification for when we do install those guide pins that I made would have worked. Okay, I just went back in the manual. So if I had just put them here and here in the bottom too, and then everything would have slipped on, it would have hung, it would have made it a lot easier instead of putting them all, because again, these had to slide out a little bit, and that's why nothing lined up. They were a little bit off. Also, these studs here, there's a short end here and a long end here. The short end goes up into the manifold. Put the NACs on it. Then you're just gonna double nut it and tighten it down. New parts going easy though. We're just about bottomed out right there. I'll just keep going with it. There we go. Put your gasket on here. You got your 2 studs like we discussed, with the longer studs going up into there. Oh, that exhaust is getting me. Woo! She's heavy. Hey, what was that dropped now? Heavy, heavy, heavy. All right, I'm gonna have to get in this exhaust first. Then I have to reach for this nut. I'm gonna put this nut in my mouth. All right. Gasket's on. Get in the exhaust. And then get over. It ain't working. It ain't working. Let's go. Damn height. That fought me getting it off. I should have moved it. It fought me. That's why I broke that dang bolt. That one stud, I can guarantee it, because I was at an angle. I should have loosened that. But I'm not gonna now, because I'm stubborn. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna get her in. Boy, she's heavy. She is heavy. Let's get this out of the way. Let's get this out of the way for now. And I can get back to it. I think I'm at the wrong angle here. Something's hanging me up. God dang. Oh, come on, you're so close. Oh, so close. Just so heavy though. I gotta re-rig. I got this dang drain pipe holding me up. It's in my way. Get this right. Gotta get this pipe away from me. There we go. Use extra hand right now. Wedged into an airline. Oh! Oh, son of a gun. All right, that dang exhaust wins for now. I gotta re-rig and look at this. All right, the bracket won after a couple nice words at it. I gotta cut this old rusty bracket off that's holding this whole thing. I thought it was just a regular clamp like this one back there. I took that off, but it wasn't that. It is that bracket. So I'm gonna just cut that bolt, put a new bolt in it, because there's no way that's coming off. Look at that ugly thing. Really didn't give me much room. It swivels and it pushed back a slight bit. Let's see what she does. Oh yeah, she gave me a lot more room. All right, she gave me room. Give me a nut. It just slipped up in. It was like one of those things that went bloop and went right in. Just one of those things, you know. And that time I wasn't even expecting it to go in. It just lined up perfect. Went right in. I'll check the gaskets. These are 50 foot-pounds too. Get my new gasket on my oil line I got. Hook all the electrical up, and then I'll finish this thing up in the morning. Or not the morning. I got to work tomorrow, and then finish it up after work. 50 on all 4 turbo flange nuts. Start hooking up your lines. Just double check everything before you put piping on, that all your lines are in there, all your electrical connectors are on, oil fill tube is on, and then I'm going to go back here and put a new nut in that right now while that's open. Back in the yard, midday, been running back and forth to the job, and here getting stuff. I had to get that washer there, and I put 2 new O-rings in this fittings here, but everything's looking good. Painted things up last night right before the daylight left. Hot heat black, and then the red on the turbo. Got the heat shield painted and all down in here. Might as well, right? All right, everything's hooked up. I got make sure all your lines are hooked up. I got the tie straps on everything. I double, triple checked everything. Got the plug in the bottom of the antifreeze. Just gonna throw antifreeze in there now, and then I'll put the piping on. Rather get this antifreeze in there while nothing's in my way. I can get close to it. Well, third time might be a charm for dropping the coolant. Replace the O-rings in the line that I thought it was. The flat face O-rings in this. Put them in, and it's the line itself. It must have a crack right here. From being moved, you know, a lot of heat down there over the years. Is what it is. Gonna back up the Kenworth. There's the $77 part. It's broke right in here somewhere. It was leaking. Hopefully that's it. And just like that, we got new parts. Well, hopefully that's it right there. That's the last of the leaks. I put new O-rings in this pipe here this morning, and then new O-rings down in there, thinking that was the leak on that, but it would end up being the line. So we're gonna drop some coolant in here. We got 15 gallons to drop in and check for leaks. Well, no leaks, knock on wood. Last piping to go on. Got the air cleaner on already. This pipe's gotta go. If anybody wants to know the tools used and the size wrenches, there you go. Let me know if we got any leaks. Oh, never mind. I didn't hook the battery up yet. All right, we're ready now. Been running about 10 minutes. Once it hits temperature, this coolant will drop. I got it at high idle right now. No leaks, knock on wood, we're good to go.